My parents rejected my wedding, then my plumber husband went viral on TV. The night was electric, a freak storm raging outside as Camila paced in her small living room. The kind of storm that made tree branches bend. Her heart raced, that familiar tightness in her chest warning her something was wrong. Just hours ago, her family had turned her world upside down. They flat out refused to accept Jamie, her soon-to-be husband. A plumber, a blue-collar worker. They never cared to know him, never bothered to see his heart. But when she saw the local news headline flash across her screen, "Plumber stops robbery," she couldn't believe it. Her Jamie was a hero, but here she was, fighting to convince her parents he was worth more than their cold judgments. As she wrestled with her emotions, the TV screen showed grainy footage of Jamie, drenched in rain, grappling with a man much bigger than him. She couldn't tear her eyes away. With every moment, her heart swelled with pride, then fell at the reminder of her parents' disapproval. "You deserve better," they always yelled, their voices echoing in her mind like a haunting chant. But better meant a suit and tie guy who wouldn't know the smell of hard work? That wasn't who she wanted. Her grip tightened around her phone. Jamie's bravery should have been applauded, not critiqued. Then the announcer's voice dropped, casting a shadow over her bubbling hope. Now the video's gone viral, and this story's sparked some troubling conversations. Her pulse quickened. What did that mean? Outside, the wind howled, somehow mimicking the doubt creeping into her gut. She glanced at her reflection in the dark window, her face illuminated only by the TV's flickering light. Would Jamie be embraced or ridiculed? Lost in her thoughts, Camila didn't notice when her phone buzzed with a message. Finally breaking her stare, she looked down and saw it was a request. A producer wanted to interview Jamie. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." With that thought dancing in her mind, concern flooded over Camila once more. What if this publicity ruined them? What if her family disowned her? A chill ran through her as she recalled her mother's somber face. After all, it was only minutes before that she was faced with silent rejection. Would they only see Jamie as that plumber who was fighting for a greater cause? Suddenly, every beat of her heart whispered uncertainty. The storm outside raged on, illuminating the dark corners of the room, and in that moment, she realized she was standing on a precipice. Love, rejection, public scrutiny, and the question that hung heavily in the air: would they find happiness? Or were they stepping straight into chaos? The next morning, Camila woke to a silence that felt oppressive. The storm had passed, but the aftermath lingered like a heavy fog. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her thoughts racing. The viral video had blown up overnight, flooding her social media feeds with comments, likes, and shares. Some hailed Jamie as a hero. Others? They cracked jokes, mocked his appearance, and dismissed him as just a plumber. With a pang of hurt in her chest, she clicked through the posts. Amidst the laughter, she felt the weight of every twisted perception pressing down. Camila squeezed her eyes shut, willing it all to fade, but when she opened them, the messages were still there. Did you see him? What a loser. Wow, this is what our society has come to? Tears pricked at her eyes. Her Jamie, a man with a heart of gold, was being torn apart by strangers. She raised her phone, contemplating the message from the producer again. An interview could get Jamie the respect he deserved, but would it also expose them to more ridicule? The sun crept through her curtains, its light promising warmth, but it felt distant. She got up and dressed in a daze. Everything was chaotic. Her body moved on autopilot. As she opened the door to leave, the world felt loud and unwelcoming. The driveway was filled with neighbors, heads bent together, whispering, their glances darting toward her as she passed. Did you hear? The plumber is a national news story now, one of them said to another, barely masking the laughter in her voice. Camila's heart sank. It was one thing for the world to ridicule Jamie, but her community? She picked up her pace, desperate to escape their judgment. Moments later, she reached the cafe. The sweet scent of coffee filled her senses, but she was distracted, searching for comfort. Instead, her phone buzzed in her pocket, another message. Maybe Jamie had seen it and he was reaching out. Maybe he was ready for the interview. But it was her mother. "Camila, we need to talk. This is bigger than you think." Her breath hitched at her mother's words. What could be bigger? Panic rolled through her. She shot a quick note back, asking to meet. As she sat at a table cradling a warm cup, her thoughts whirled. What did I do? Everything felt fragile. The safety of her life was tethered to an unsteady thread of public opinion. Just then, Jamie entered the cafe, looking worn and weary, his usual spark dimmed. When he caught her eyes, it was like electricity surged between them, but it was laced with doubt. He approached hesitantly. "Hey, I saw the news." "I didn't expect this kind of reaction," he stammered, running a hand through his wet hair. "I wanted to make a difference, you know?" Camila placed a hand on his forearm, feeling the heat of the skin beneath the cold reality of the morning. "You did make a difference, Jamie. But it's complicated." Before they could delve deeper, the cafe's door swung wide open, and in walked a small film crew, cameras rolling. A reporter, microphone in hand, scanned the room before pointing straight at them. "Excuse me, are you Jamie? Can we get a word?" Camila's heart plummeted. This wasn't what they needed. Jamie shifted, uncertainty written all over his face. She could feel his hand tense under hers, the weight of recognition crashing down. Their moment was stripped away, and the world loomed in, hungry for his story. Camila swallowed, wrestling with the realization that they were sliding into a whirlwind they couldn't control. Would Jamie rise from this, or would it bury them both? The reporter's smile was a predator-esque grin, and as he advanced, the air around them thickened. She thought about her parents, the fury and rejection they felt, and now this public trial. What had she done by loving a plumber? As Jamie's eyes widened with fear and excitement, she leaned closer. "We need to talk after this. There's something I haven't told you." The interview had begun, but their shared secret festered unseen, ready to explode. What had she been holding back, and what would it mean for their future? As the cameras rolled, everything felt precarious, teetering on the edge of revelation. Would their love withstand the storm that was about to hit? The reporter moved in closer, camera directed at Jamie, as if they were the center of a storm. "What inspired you to act in that moment?" His voice rang out, cutting through the cafe's muted ambience. Jamie hesitated, the weight of the world crashing down on him, his eyes darting toward Camila. I didn't think. It was instinct, you know?" Camila's heart raced. She wanted to shout, to intervene, to stop this moment before it spiraled out of control. The cafe, filled with curious patrons, now occupied tables, their eyes glued to Jamie, some whispering, others laughing behind their hands. "What are you thinking right now?" The reporter pressed on, relentless, eager for drama. "I'm thinking about how this feels wrong," Jamie muttered, glancing around as shame washed over him. The humor in the room shifted, and Camila felt the tightening knot in her stomach. She leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "Just be yourself, Jamie. Don't let them twist your words." A flicker of uncertainty crossed his face. Then he took a breath, grounding himself. "I'm just a plumber. I wanted to help, that's all." The reporter smirked, capturing the essence of Jamie as if he were nothing more than a punchline. "Just a plumber? But that's what makes this story relatable, isn't it? Your average guy doing heroic things." Camila felt heat rise in her cheeks. This wasn't a joke. It was Jamie's life. The good he had done became fodder for ridicule. She could see his defensiveness bubbling under the surface. Yeah, but what they don't see is the real struggle behind that moment. "It's not just about the video," Jamie said, his voice firming up. "Then what is it about?" The reporter pressed, tilting his head, eager for more scandal. With every passing second, Camila's resolve shifted. Was it time? Were they on the verge of unveiling something that could change everything? Could they take control before the narrative was twisted further? But before she could speak, the door swung open again, and another figure stepped in. It was her mother, eyes wide and frantic, and her presence sent a wave of panic through Camila. Was this why she insisted on meeting today? Had she come to add fuel to the fire? Camila, her mother shouted, scanning the room. We need to leave. Now. Gasps rippled through the crowd. All attention shifted to her mother, the wild energy sparking curiosity and concern. Jamie looked confused, his protective instincts flaring up. Mom, wait. Camila called out, feeling a rush of urgency that collided with disbelief. What was happening? What are you doing here? It's not safe, her mother insisted, a look of panic etched on her face as she continued to advance toward them. This is bigger than any of us realize. I think they're after you. The reporter, sensing the chaos, turned his camera toward Camila's mother, eyes alight with the thrill of breaking news. What do you mean? Who's after her? Stop! Camila exclaimed, heart pounding. Jamie's confusion deepened, and for the first time, fear crept into his expression. I know things. Her mother's voice trembled, and I don't want you caught up in this. Not like Jamie. The words hung heavy in the air. Jamie's gaze flicked between the two women, and a bolt of realization struck Camila. What had her mother been keeping hidden? What dark thread was weaving through both of their lives? As her mother's urgency wrapped around her like a noose, Camila felt the walls closing in. The reporter surged forward, ready for another angle, another twist to the saga playing out before the audience. Are you saying there's more to the story? More than a viral video? He prodded, voice slick with anticipation. Camila's pulse raced, urgency pushing her to reveal what she had kept locked away. But in one fell swoop, she realized the story could shift from a simple love and respect to a much darker tale that tied them all together. What had her mother known, and why had she kept it from Camila? As the air thickened with tension, a thought gnawed at the edges of her mind. What if the truth was more dangerous than they could ever imagine? And in that instant, Camila understood they were on the brink of something that could tear them apart even as it brought them together. Would they stand strong against the dark whispers of the past, or would it shatter their newfound hope? Camila! Her mother shouted again, snapping her back to reality. The urgency in her voice cut through the tension. She had to act, but what could she possibly say? No, you need to explain. Camila insisted, stepping between the reporter and her mother. Jamie's brows knitted as he searched her face for answers. The room buzzed with disbelief. The reporter leaned in closer. Write this down, folks. We have a potential scoop here. He was practically giddy with excitement, his camera poised like a predator. Camila's mother, visibly shaken, reached out, gripping Camila's arm with trembling fingers. It's not just about Jamie. It's about the people who are watching and the reason you're seen as a target. Target? Jamie's voice broke through the chaos, filled with a mixture of confusion and anger. What do you mean? The crowd, now an unwilling audience to this unfolding drama, buzzed with snippets of conversation. All eyes were on them, waiting, anticipating the next revelation. We need to go. Now, her mother urged again, desperation tightening her voice. I didn't think it would get this far. I thought we were safe. But they know you, Camila. They know more than I ever wanted. The word. They sent a chill down Camila's spine. Who are they? Her heart raced, pounding in her chest like a warning drum. The shadows of what her mother hinted at felt much darker than a simple misunderstanding. I can't let them drag you into this, her mother continued, her voice thick with worry. You're all I've got. I've kept you hidden for a reason, Camila. The tension in the cafe shifted, curiosity mingling with fear as some spectators scuttled closer, straining their ears to catch details. A girl at a nearby table whispered, "What could be dangerous about a plumber and his fiancée?" Jamie's expression hardened. "Look, I don't want to be some pawn in a game I don't understand. Can someone please tell me what's going on?" Camila's mind spun. Mom, why didn't you just tell me? She couldn't believe the secrets that had been kept. Was this what had been gnawing at the back of her mind all along? I thought I could protect you. This isn't just about your wedding. It's about the people who are after the truth about our past. Her mother took a shaky breath, fear and guilt lining her features. What truth? Jamie demanded, his frustration boiling over. Listen, Camilla interrupted, her heart hammering with resolve. I don't care about keeping secrets anymore. If they really are after us, we need to face this together. But deep inside, she wondered, could facing it actually make things worse? Before her mother could respond, the door burst open once more, a wild gust of wind carrying in a dark figure cloaked in shadows. The cafe fell silent, the atmosphere heavy with uncertainty. The silence was deafening. Camilla, the voice sent shivers racing down her spine. Familiar yet distant, it was laced with danger. She turned, battling the urge to turn away. Jackson, she breathed, shock rendering her voice weak. The cycles of her life threatened to collide. Time to come home. They're waiting. The word home echoed like a quiet promise and a chilling warning. Camilla's world tilted on its axis. This confrontation was inevitable, and the stakes had never felt higher, a crisscross of choices that could determine everything. What secrets lay waiting in the past, and would they be able to uncover them before it was too late? The tension in the cafe seemed to pulse with an electric charge. Camilla's heart raced as Jackson's piercing gaze locked onto hers, his presence imposing against the backdrop of chaos. The crowd buzzed with a mixture of fear and intrigue, whispers flitting amongst patrons like moths to a flame. Is that Jackson? Jamie muttered, disbelief weaving through his tone. He stepped closer, protective instincts kicking in. Camilla could feel his warmth radiating, grounding her in a moment that threatened to spiral out of control. Don't. Her mother shrieked, her voice trembling. You don't know what he's involved in. Jackson held his hands up in a calming gesture, yet his eyes glinted with an intensity that sent ice through Camilla's veins. I'm not here to hurt anyone. Camilla, you're in danger. I came to save you, he insisted, his voice low, urgent. Danger? Jamie echoed, confusion etched on his features. From who? What are you even talking about? Enough. Camilla shouted, her voice cracking under the weight of her emotions. Stop. Just tell me what's going on. The cafe's murmurs faded into an unsettling silence, all eyes now fixed on Jackson, waiting for his explanation. He stepped forward, breaking the invisible barrier instilled by fear. Camilla, he said softly, we're running out of time. The people after us, they want answers, and they'll do whatever it takes to get them. Who are they? She demanded, hands trembling at her sides. They're not just watching you, they've been watching your whole family for years. They know things about your past, things your mother, he shot a meaningful glance at Camilla's mom, has kept hidden. Camilla felt her mother's grip falter as the implication hung heavily in the air. You don't know what you're saying, Jackson. We can't drag her back into that mess. But it's already happening. Jackson snapped, the heat of urgency spilling over. You're not safe here, Camilla. You think keeping her in the dark protects her? It only puts her life at risk. What are you talking about? Jamie interjected, glaring at Jackson with growing frustration. If you know something, spill it. If you care about her, I do care, Jackson replied fiercely, cutting Jamie off. That's why I'm here. We need to go. Now. Before it's too late. Where exactly are we supposed to go? Camilla felt the weight of uncertainty and fear creeping into her chest, squeezing tightly. I can't tell you everything, Jackson replied, his voice low. Not here. They're watching us. We need to move. Camilla's mother shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. No, you can't just take her away like this. Camilla, please, listen to me, but Camilla's mind was spinning now, flooded with conflicting thoughts. I need to know the truth, she whispered, her voice trembling with the weight of that desire. I can't live in the shadows anymore. Then decide, Jackson urged, his expression a mix of desperation and hope. You can either stay in this cafe and let them find you, or you can come with me and face what's waiting. But know this, you can't go back to the way things were. Not anymore. Jamie took a step back, his face paling. What are you saying, Camilla? Let us go, she said, surprising herself with the strength in her words. The feeling of a breaking point settled in her bones. She had a right to know, even if it scared her. Jackson nodded sharply, his gaze flicking to the door they had entered through. The thought of leaving everything behind made her heart ache. But as the atmosphere tensed further, every instinct screamed at her to run. Before she could question herself, she turned toward her mother, hesitant yet determined. "Mom, I need to do this." "Camila, no." Her mother pleaded, desperation clawing at her voice like a wounded animal. But the moment dragged on, punctuated by the sound of footsteps echoing outside, growing closer. Tension crackled in the air as choices collided with fate. "What if it's a mistake?" Camila whispered, the question clinging to the silence, but as Jackson swiftly moved toward the door, all she felt was the intoxicating pull of the unknown. Her heart raced. With every second ticking away, the urgency pressed down on her like a vice. Could they confront the truth without tearing their lives apart? As Camila stepped toward the door, a sense of freedom laced with fear enveloped her. One way or another, chaos awaited, and she was ready to break free. But who really awaited her on the other side? As Camila crossed the threshold, the sharp jingle of the cafe door echoed louder than a gunshot. Outside, the world felt different, heavier, a fog of uncertainty clinging to her. The streets were uncharacteristically quiet, but the silence screamed with tension. Jackson kept a firm grip on her wrist, leading her away from the chaos they had left behind. "Stay close," he whispered, urgency threading through his voice. Camila nodded, though her gaze darted around, searching for any shadows that might jump into action. Jamie lagged behind them, a mix of confusion and fear etching deeper lines across his face. "Where are we going?" he demanded, trying to catch up. "You can't just drag her into the unknown." "The less you know, the safer you are," Jackson replied sharply, glancing over his shoulder. "It's not just our lives at stake anymore." Camila felt her heart thudding painfully in her chest as they turned a sharp corner into a dimly lit alley. A shiver ran down her spine at the grit of the asphalt beneath her shoes. The neon lights from the cafe flickered out of view, leaving behind an unsettling darkness. "There's a safe house not far from here," Jackson continued, his voice urgent but steady. "It's hidden. We can figure this out without anyone watching us." "Watching us? Who the hell is watching us?" Jamie shot back, frustration boiling over. "What are we even running from?" "From people who wouldn't hesitate to hurt you." "To hurt Camila," Jackson said, his tone leaving no room for doubt. "You have no idea what they'll do to get what they want." "Stop it," Camila yelled, her voice echoing in the narrow alley. "Just tell me who they are." Jackson's expression darkened. "They're a group tied to your mother's past. They're powerful and ruthless. They think you know something that can expose them. That's why I came." The weight of his words slammed into her, like a punch to the gut. "But I don't know anything." "Exactly. And that's what scares them." His eyes bore into hers, forceful and probing. "They'll come for you. They'll use anyone to find you, even your mother." Pain surged through her. How could her own blood be tied to this mess? All she wanted was to live a normal life, free from secrets that threatened to consume her. "Isn't there a way we can stop this? A way to get her out of it?" "No," Jackson replied, shaking his head with finality. "You're too deep in this, Camila. The only way to protect you is to get you far away. For now, we need to stay on the move." The alley opened into a broader street, one illuminated by flickering streetlights. A cramped van sat at the curb, its back door ajar. "That's our ride," Jackson said, pulling her toward it. "No," Jamie exclaimed, his eyes wide with panic. "You can't just put her in a van. We need to call the police, or trust me," Jackson insisted, his gaze not wavering from Camila. "The police can't help us. Not this time." The finality in his voice made her stomach churn. Whatever game was being played was bigger than she could comprehend, and the stakes were too high. "But why me?" she whispered, feeling the crushing weight of the truth land on her shoulders. "Because they see you as a threat. You're part of it, whether you want to be or not." He paused, searching her face for understanding. "You have to be willing to fight back." The sound of footsteps echoed down the street, sharpening the air around them. In an instant, panic swept over her. "We have to go," she yelled, shoving her body into the van. Jackson followed close behind, and Jamie climbed in reluctantly. The moment Jackson slammed the door shut, the van jolted forward, tearing them from the chaos of the alley. Camila tried to steady her breath, but her heart was in a free fall. The wind whipped through her hair as they sped away from everything familiar, everything safe. Was she signing off on a life she didn't choose? Behind the wheel, Jackson glanced back at her, his expression fierce. "You're stronger than you know, Camila. We're going to uncover the truth. And then we'll decide what to do." Just then, an unmarked car flanked them, shadowy figures obscured by tinted glass. Adrenaline sparked through her like an electric jolt. "Hold on," Jackson shouted, his hands tightening on the wheel. With that, the tension spiked to a breaking point, and Camila realized that the real battle was just beginning. Could they escape the unseen forces that lurked just beyond the shadows? The van's engine roared, the sound swallowed up by the night as Jackson swerved to avoid a parked car. Camila clutched the seat, each bump jolting her, making her pulse race. The unmarked car drew closer, menacing and relentless, its headlights like wolves' eyes glaring at them from the darkness. "Faster," Jamie urged, his voice a panicked whisper. "I'm going as fast as I can." Jackson snapped back, his focus sharp, eyes scanning the rearview mirror. "We need to lose them." A sharp turn sent them onto a one-lane road lined with trees, heavy with shadows. The damp air outside felt crushing, suffocating beneath the weight of what was happening. Camila's heart pounded in her chest, a drumbeat of fear and uncertainty. She was trapped in a reality her mother had kept hidden for too long, and there was no escape. "What do we do if they catch us?" Jamie's voice trembled. Jackson's expression darkened, his jaw set. "They can't catch us. Just stay quiet and trust me." Trust. The word felt heavy. How could she trust anyone when everything had changed so quickly? Memories of her life, the simple joy of late-night movies, laughter with friends felt like a distant dream, slipping further away. Her focus shifted as she spotted the unmarked car in the mirror. Its presence loomed larger, an unwavering predator. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed through the van. Camila gasped, her heart leaping as Jamie shouted, "What was that?" "Just hold on," Jackson replied, his voice strained as he fought for control of the vehicle. Another impact, this time from the side. The sensation knocked Camila against her window, and panic erupted in her chest. This wasn't just a chase. It was a reckoning. "Are they trying to ram us off the road?" she cried, bracing herself against the seat. "They are," Jackson confirmed, his hands gripping the wheel like a lifeline. "They'll stop at nothing to catch you." Camila's breath hitched. "What do they want from me? I don't even know anything." "That's the problem." Jackson's voice was fierce, but it softened slightly as he added, "But we'll figure this out, I promise. Just keep your head down." No sooner had he said it than a blinding light suddenly flooded the interior of the van, illuminating every fear etched across their faces. Camila squinted, trying to shield her eyes. "Damn it. They're right on us," Jackson cursed under his breath. "Stay low." The sounds of tires screeching and metal scraping against metal echoed in her ears as they twisted and turned through the tight roads. Each bump brought her closer to despair, but Jackson's determination acted like a shield, fending off some of her fear. Suddenly, the van jolted violently, and Jackson fought to regain command of the wheel. "We're not going to look out," Jamie shouted, pointing. It was too late. A sharp collision sent a shockwave through the van. Camila felt the metal frame buckle with a sickening crunch, tossing her body against the door. Pain shot through her shoulder as darkness spilled through the cracks. "Get out," Jackson yelled, his voice cutting through the haze. "No." Panic surged in Camila as she scrambled to unbuckle herself, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Jamie was already leaping out, hastily pulling the door open and hitting the cold ground outside. The world twisted around Camila, the aftermath of the collision, the sound of the unmarked car screeching to a halt. figures emerging from within shrouded in darkness and uncertainty. With one last fearful glance at Jackson, she burst from the van, her breath hitching in her throat. "Jackson, let us go." But the sight that met her froze her in place. The shadowy figures were closing in, their intentions as murky as the night. Everything she had known teetered on a knife's edge. They were out of the van, but had they really escaped the shadows? Her heart raced as she turned back to Jackson, desperate for hope in the chaos. Was the truth waiting just beyond the looming threat, or had they walked right into the trap? Camila's breath caught in her throat as the shadows closed in around them. Her eyes darted between the figures emerging from the unmarked car, dark silhouettes stepping into the glaring headlights, their intentions unreadable. Her heart raced, pounding like a wild drum in her chest, drowning out the chaos unfolding around her. "Jackson!" she shouted, panic spilling over. He was a few feet away, wrestling with the door, trying to break free from the wreckage. "We need to go. Camila, stay back," he barked, pushing himself free at last. He looked disheveled, a wild determination driving his eyes. Every nerve in her body screamed for her to run, but she was frozen, paralyzed by fear and uncertainty. The figures moved closer, emerging from the dark like spirits summoned by a terrible spell. Two of them wore dark uniforms, the emblem glinting in the light. A third, taller figure loomed behind them, a sneer visible even from this distance. "What do you want?" Jamie yelled, standing protectively in front of Camila, even though his voice shook. The man at the front stepped forward, illuminated now. "We just want to talk," he said, the mocking tone in his voice dripping with menace. "It's time for you to come with us. You know too much." "Too much about what?" Camila said, summoning every ounce of courage as her heart thudded louder in her ears. "I don't know anything." His expression hardened, a flicker of impatience crossing his face. "That's not what we've been led to believe. Let us just go," Jackson shouted, stepping toward her once more, hands raised as if to calm the boiling situation. "This isn't what you think. We're not going down without a fight." The tension in the air thickened, electric. Camila could see the uncertainty in Jackson, the way his jaw clenched, how he surveyed the surroundings. There was something brewing inside him, a storm barely contained. "Move aside, kid," one of the uniforms barked, his eyes flicking to Jamie. "You really don't want to mess with us." Suddenly, without warning, Jackson lunged forward, catching the unwitting agent off guard. He knocked the man backward, the night erupting in chaos as blows were exchanged rapidly. Jamie grabbed Camila's arm. "Run," Jamie urged, panic etching deeper into his features. She didn't need to be told twice. They darted down the road, each step fueled by mounting adrenaline. Behind her, the sounds of struggle and shouted orders filled the air, but she forced herself to concentrate on putting one foot in front of the other. With each stride, a fiery determination ignited within her. No longer was she a passive participant in this nightmare, she was fighting for her life, for answers. They veered off the road into a dense stretch of trees, the dark trunks looming like a fortress. Heart racing, Camila could barely keep up with Jamie, the cold moist air wrapping around her like a shroud. The sounds of pursuit lingered in the distance, a reminder of the danger that chased them. "Where are we going?" Camila panted, trying to catch her breath. "There's a cabin not far from here," Jamie replied, his voice a mix of fear and determination. "It's hidden, we can hide there. Do you know if it's safe?" His eyes were fierce, resolute. "It has to be." As they neared the cabin, shadows moved among the trees behind them, the threat drawing closer, hunting them like prey. Then, a sudden crashing noise behind them shattered their fleeting sense of safety. Hope twisted in Camila's gut as panic gripped her. "Faster," Jamie urged, pulling ahead. They were nearly there, but the shadows loomed larger, and the crashing grew nearer. With one last push, they reached the door, Jamie fumbling with the lock. Camila's heart raced, drowning in fear. Would they make it inside before they were caught? The door flew open, and just then, a figure burst through the trees. The unmarked car had found them again. And as she turned to face this new threat, realization hit her harder than anything. The danger wasn't just from outside. The truth they were running from was deeper than they could ever have imagined. What had she gotten herself into? The figure emerging from the trees was imposing. The flashlight beam swept through the darkness, illuminating the twisted branches like spotlighting a grotesque tableau. Camila felt her breath hitch again. Fear washed over her as she grasped Jamie's arm, using him as a shield against the chaos brewing behind them. "Who are you?" Jamie shouted, desperately trying to keep his voice steady, but it trembled like a reed in the wind. The tall figure stepped forward, his features coming into focus under the harsh light. It was the man from the unmarked car, his smirk widening as he took in the sight of them. "We only want to help," he said, his voice both slippery and sinister. Camila glanced back at the path they'd taken, the dark shadows of the trees creeping threateningly. "You call this help? You have no idea what you're involved in," he continued, unfazed, as if their fear excited him. "We're not the enemy." Something tightened in Jamie's jaw as he stepped in front of Camila. "We're not going anywhere with you." "Really? You don't have much of a choice." The man raised a hand, gesturing back into the woods. With that, there was a rustling, a shifting of branches, and suddenly more figures emerged, agents, closing in, surrounding them. Camila's pulse raced. "We need to find a way out." "Trust me," Jamie whispered urgently, his breath hot against her ear. "Now." He grabbed her wrist and pulled her toward a narrow opening between the trees. Camila's mind raced, battling between resistance and instinct. She felt the darkness closing in as they dove into a small ravine, the cold earth scraping her knees. The crashing noise thrummed through her, and it felt like they were alive with danger, suspended in an unknown moment. "Hold on," Jamie whispered fiercely. "If we can just get to that stream, we can lose them." Her heart hammered. The thrill of desperation surged within her. "But where will we go after?" His face flickered with determination. "We'll think of something. We have to keep moving." They crawled through the underbrush, the damp ground sucking at their clothes. The adrenaline coursed through her like fire. Branches snapped behind them, loud and ominous. "Search the area," a voice commanded, making Camila freeze in place. The agents were close, too close. Jamie's eyes darted to a thicket ahead. "There, we can hide in there. Quick!" They darted through the prickly shrubs, pressing themselves against the rough bark of a tree. The sounds of footsteps grew louder, echoing in Camila's ears. She clenched her eyes shut, her breath shallow and rapid. "Do you ever wonder why this is happening?" she whispered, fighting to control the tremors in her voice. "Not now," Jamie replied sharply, but the flicker of concern in his gaze told her everything she needed to know. Then, a beam of light swept past them. Camila held her breath, praying they wouldn't be seen. "Nothing here, keep moving." The footsteps faded, but danger lingered in the air like smoke. "Let us go," Jamie urged, breaking the tension with urgency. They slipped back into the shadows, ready to run. But just then, a sudden flash of emotion crossed Jamie's face. "Camila, wait." "What?" "The cabin, do you think they'll search it?" "If they think we're heading there, they might," she replied, panic flooding her. His brow furrowed, weighing options. "We could draw them away. Make them think we're still running." Her stomach dropped. "And lead them to innocent people?" Jamie hesitated, torn. "They're coming for you, Camila. We need to make a choice." They locked eyes, the weight of the decision hanging between them heavy as stone. In that moment, an unmistakable siren rang in the distance, sending a surge of urgency through both of them. "What now?" Camila demanded, but as she turned to look back, she caught a glimpse of the man with the sinister smirk, closing in again. They were out of time. A decision needed to be made, and fast. What would they risk for their survival? Would they turn back or keep running straight into the very heart of the danger? The tension shattered with the dissonance of urgency roaring to life. Camila's heart was a drum, pounding with fear and courage. "We can't lead them to the cabin," she cried, desperation lacing her words. Jamie's expression hardened. "Then we have to make them think we are far away." They crawled deeper into the thick underbrush, the sound of agents barking orders growing fainter, but never far away. "If we set up a diversion, it might buy us enough time," Jamie offered, eyes blazing with determination. Camila could feel the electric charge of his resolve coursing through her. It ignited something within her, an ember of strength in the midst of chaos. "Okay," she said, her voice a whisper yet firm. "I'll create a distraction. You run to the cabin." "No," he shot back, shaking his head. "We stay together. Always." Fear coursed through her veins. There was so much at stake. But even in the fear, she felt an urge to fight for their future, for the clarity of their love amidst the storm of lies surrounding them. As they huddled closer, she could see the flashlights dancing through the trees, silhouettes moving like shadows in the dim light. Time was running thin. "Listen," Camila urged. "I can draw them away just long enough. You can get to the cabin, lock the door, and wait for me. I promise I'll be right behind you." Jamie's brow furrowed, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "Camila, trust me. I've faced hard things before," she insisted, her voice steady even as fear gripped her insides. "I can do this." She grasped his hand tightly for a moment, feeling the warmth radiate from him. "You have to believe in me." "All right," he relented, though his voice was thick with worry. "But we move fast. On three. 1, 2, 3. They sprang apart, both instinctively turning in their own directions. Camila dashed left as Jamie darted right. The air crackled with electricity, a sense of shared momentum urging them on. Heart hammering, she zigzagged through trees, ensuring she was far enough away to lift their pursuers' attention. Behind her, she heard shouting, the sweep of footsteps quickening. She glanced back and caught a glimpse of figures bolting toward her, flashlights like sniper's sights searching the darkness. Fear fueled her feet. She pushed herself harder, dodging branches and vines, her pulse racing against the wind. Then, unexpectedly, a sharp voice broke through the night. "Over here." Joan's stomach dropped. They were right on her heels. She ducked beneath a low-hanging branch, desperation coursing through her. Just a little more. She remembered their earlier conversations, shared laughter, the warmth of Jamie's hand clasped in hers. She had to get back to him. She would not let them tear them apart. At the cabin, Jamie had already slipped inside. He fumbled to lock the door, breathing heavily as he pressed his back against it, bracing himself against the inevitable chase. "Camila!" he shouted, his heart racing for the danger they were up against. "Hold on. I'm coming." The sound of footsteps echoed closer, sharp and relentless. Camila pushed her legs faster, sprinting through the underbrush with sheer determination. There ahead, she could see the outline of the cabin's porch, the warm glow of light spilling from the cracks in the door like solace amid looming shadows. "Keep running," Jamie shouted again, desperation cracking his voice. The noise outside intensified as the agents closed in. When she reached the cabin, Jamie yanked the door open before she could say a word, dragging her inside and slamming it shut. They leaned against the heavy wood, hearts still pounding, as the shadows encroached just outside. "What now?" she gasped, breathless. "We hold our ground," he replied, resolve lending him strength. "If they want to play games, then we'll play. We'll fight for each other." Suddenly, a heavy thud reverberated through the door. "Let us in, Camila." An agent's voice rang out, demanding, laced with authority. "You're in over your head. You need to come with us." "No," Jamie yelled, shoving himself against the door as another blow struck, harder this time, rattling the frame. "They're lying," he whispered urgently to Camila, eyes fierce. "They want control, nothing more. You know the truth is out there. We need to stand for it." Collecting herself, Camila took a step back, bracing herself beside him. Through the window, she whispered, "We need another way out." They turned to the window, casting hurried glances at the door where more pressure came, the wood creaking ominously. The moonlight streamed through the glass, illuminating their determination. As they climbed toward the window, another crash erupted from the door, sending ripples of fear surging through them. "Now!" Jamie cried. They burst through the window just as the door exploded inward, fragments flying into the cabin like shrapnel. Landing on the forest floor, they hit the ground running, the cool night air whipping around them. They navigated the trees, side by side, hearts racing with unyielding fear yet fueled by courage. They ran until the sounds of pursuit became a distant echo, then spun together, breathless and weary, leaning against each other under a tapestry of stars. "We can keep running," he gasped, eyes bright with fervor. "No," Camila breathed deeply, her heart steadying as she locked eyes with him. "There's no running from the truth. We face it together." Jamie nodded, embers of hope igniting in their chests. Together. When dawn broke, sunlight poured into the horizon, illuminating a dark path toward their shared destination. They stood united, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. They were not merely surviving now, they were alive, armed with the fierce bond of love and trust. As morning light embraced them, Camila grabbed Jamie's hand tightly. "We'll find our way through this. I promise." And with that, they stepped toward the unfolding journey, ready to unearth the secrets of their past and the power of their future. Together, they would face the danger hidden in the shadows and emerge stronger, fighting for a life they deserved. This was just the beginning of their fight, but they would not fight alone. They would break every chain binding them, daring to declare their truth to the world. And they would emerge as triumphs of love, for their love was the anchor in the storm. Now, take a moment. You need to subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this shocking conclusion. And don't you dare wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. Your support is crucial, and only true fans understand the importance of these actions. Let's make sure this community grows stronger together.